Hello and welcome to Tech Deals. Today we are doing a tutorial how-to video to install RAM and a video card into this ASUS M32CD Desktop Computer. I have previously reviewed this computer. There'll be a link in the video description to take you back to that review. If you came here from that review to see how to do this, then you are in the right place. If you came here from somewhere else, not a problem. This will show how to install an additional 8GB stick of DDR memory and a nvidia GeForce GTX 960 video card into this desktop computer and turn it into a nice little gaming machine for less than $650. So, let's get started. The first thing you need to do is undo the top. I have turned this computer on its side. If I lift this up a bit, you'll see that the front is over here and the back is right here. The side with all the vents is the part that you're going to take off. A Phillips head screwdriver is all you need to do this. Ideally, you have one with a magnetic bit because it will hold screws. It's not required, but it's handy to have one with a magnetic bit. The top two screws on the side here come straight off. Do not use, I highly recommend you not use any power tools. Don't use an electric screwdriver, a drill, or anything else. Oh, there we go. See, it does fall off if it slides down. The magnetic bit, it's very low power. The magnetic bit's not going to hurt your computer. This simply slides off by putting your fingers in here. It slides that far, about the width of this here, and then comes right off. That's all there is to it. I'll set that aside on the floor for a minute, and you can see inside this computer. This is the inside of an ASUS M32 desktop computer. So, what is in here? First, just if you've never been inside a computer before, I'll quickly identify the parts. If you have, this is a review or overview or whatnot. This right here is your power supply. This converts the either 110 or 220 volts from the wall into the 12 and 5 volts that your computer needs. This is your hard drive right here. That is the 1 terabyte 7200 RPM hard drive. That's where all of your photos and videos and everything is stored. That's where Windows is stored. That's where your games and apps and everything else stays. Right here we have our CPU. This is a fan and a heatsink on top of the CPU. It's underneath here. That's the Intel chip. That's your main brains of the computer right underneath. The big black thing on the bottom is called a motherboard. And the motherboard is sort of the central hub that connects CPU to hard drive, to power supply, to memory, to everything else. This right here is your 8GB of DDR memory. In this particular case, this is DDR3. They make this machine in both DDR3 and DDR4. In the video review, I linked to the DDR4 version because it's now the current version. This is DDR3, but it works exactly the same way. The slots are basically the same. The snaps work the same. There's really no difference. If you watch this, you can do it either way. There are two memory slots. One is filled with 8GB. One is empty. They all come that way. This down here is your X16 PCI Express slot. This is where your video card is going to go. All these machines have one of these slots. They're all the same size. You don't have to worry about the configuration of that. It's just there. Interestingly, if you're curious, if I tilt this up, you'll see this green chip right here. This is your Wi-Fi. That's actually your Wi-Fi chip, and these two white wires are actually the antenna that run your Wi-Fi. If you're getting poor Wi-Fi signal and you would like to improve it, moving these around or adjusting them may help. You shouldn't have to, but just on the off chance, that is one possibility. That's what that is. So, the first thing we're going to do is the memory. I want to show you how to upgrade the memory. This is by far the easiest thing to do. What I've got here is a stick of Munchkin Echo 2 memory. This on the top is a heat spreader. Some of these have heat spreaders, some don't. At this speed, they don't really need them. But this is a heat spreader. If it doesn't have it, it'll look more like this stick does, which I'll pull out in a second so you can see it. If you look at this memory, you'll see this is called a key. This is not halfway down. It's about a third of the way down the golden fingers that plug into, we call these golden fingers that plug into the motherboard. This side's shorter, this side's longer. If you look at the slot in the motherboard, this side's shorter, this side's longer. The shorter side is towards the power supply. This notch is in a different place for DDR3 and DDR4. You cannot accidentally put DDR3 into a DDR4 slot. You cannot accidentally put DDR4 into a 3 slot because this is physically located. You would have to jam it with tremendous force, which you should never do. So, You just need the correct memory because you only have one of the two kinds of memory. These are the retaining tabs that hold the memory in place. Not a problem. They may be snapped up, they may not be. All you have to do is use finger pressure to snap them open. It's finger pressure. There's no massive force here. They both need to be open to install the memory. I'm going to look at the key and orient it to make sure I put the key up at the top. Because of the key, you can only install it one way. You can't put this in backwards because of it. It also goes straight in, straight out. It doesn't tilt at an angle like this. It doesn't tilt at an angle like this. It is straight in, straight out. You can first touch your power supply to make sure that you have no static charge on you. This is totally safe. This is sealed. You can touch this. It's not going to hurt you. We rest the memory. There are two notches on either end that the ends slide into. Gently slide it into both sides. And you'll see the tabs are still sticking out, but the memory is raised up a little bit over the other one. All we're going to do is put our thumbs on either end of the memory and we're going to push straight down with very gentle pressure. And you will hear a snap. That's it. They were actually back to back. The two snaps you heard were these two sides snapping into place. We're done. The memory's installed. There's nothing else you have to do. Upgrading your RAM is really that simple. If at this point we did not want to install a video card, no problem. We would put the cover back on, put the two screws back on, turn it back on. The computer will recognize the RAM, Windows will recognize the RAM. You are good to go. No problem. We're all done. Just so you understand how to do it, I'm going to take the memory back out so you can see the process. To take out the memory, you will simply use your thumb to snap each of these tabs up, and it will actually pop the memory out of the slot just a little bit. With both sides up, it quite literally lifts straight out. There's no pressure, no pulling at all. It comes straight out just like that. So you can see the difference in the RAM. We'll go ahead and pop the other one out. And it comes straight out like that. This is what the memory looks like that it comes with. It doesn't have that nice, pretty, shiny header on it because, of course, nobody's ever going to look at this. Most people who buy these machines never open them or change them, and so they do this as inexpensively as possible. The nice, shiny heat spreader on this looks pretty, but at the end of the day, doesn't really matter. In fact, this is actually a dual memory kit. I have two of them. They're exactly the same speed. These are 1600 megahertz RAM. You can even replace them, just like this. And I'll use two fingers and snap it in place. And two fingers. Those sticks are the same as the other sticks. 16 gigs of RAM makes no difference. Video card. Now the video card we're going to install is a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960. I have previously reviewed this card, and it is right here. I have done a separate video, and there will be a link to that video in the description below. This is an excellent card for gaming at 1080p. It's also the most card you probably should put into this system. This is a 300 watt power supply. This is about a 120 watt card. If you go much beyond this, you start to stress the power supply. It is possible to replace this, and I mentioned this in the video where I talked about the video card. The thing is, there is enough cooling in here, there's enough airflow with this fan, and there's a fan in the power supply to cool this and to dissipate the heat. If you put in anything more powerful than this, you run into heat issues. If you want more gaming performance than this, you actually need a different computer. But this will let you play current titles at 1080p in nice detail. It's a really, really nice value. At the moment on Amazon, this is about $180. $450 for the computer, $180 for this, $35 for the RAM. For less than $700, about $665, you've got a kicker deal. So, I'm going to put the video card back aside. There's one more screw that you've got to take off first. There's a screw right here, which I will lift this up. This screw. This screw, here we go. And hopefully, thanks to my magnetic screwdriver, it holds on to that. This simply rotates around like that. This is, rather than screwing down individual cards, this is a retaining bracket which holds the cards down. That just hangs open like that. We'll screw that back in when we're done. Now, I have already removed these from a previous video. This right here, normally there would be plates here. And in fact, I will lift this up and you'll see them here. Normally these would be covered by the exact same thing. They can be removed. They are, they do have to be physically snapped out. They're not screw out. In 4 places they're actually attached, 3 places they're attached to the case. Here, here, and here. It's the same. Here, here, and here, and here, here, and here. The reason that is there is so you can put a screwdriver in there and apply twisting and pushing force. Essentially you're trying to snap those 3 connection points. Just use gentle back and forth pressure and a little bit of twisting this way and a little bit of pushing and pulling, and when those snaps break you can take the piece of metal out and then throw it away. Higher quality custom cases, if you custom build a machine, those cases will come with these slats that you actually can remove and reinsert, but these type of systems always come with these that you have to snap out. Once the top 2 ones are snapped out, and you do have to snap out 2 of them because the video cards take up 2 bays, 2 slots, you want to make sure you get the ones highest up towards the power supply. This goes straight in just like the RAM does. Again, touch your power supply. The golden fingers on the bottom go straight into the slot. You will have to come this way on the card a bit because as you come down inside the case, this retaining bracket here has to, make sure this is popped out, this has to clear this and then you're going to move in that way. So as we come down, we don't want to hit the motherboard. On the bottom of the graphics card are these 2 tabs. These are actually going to slide past the motherboard into that little crack right there. You don't want to hit the motherboard with these when you go down, so you want to go down just far enough to clear this and then come straight over and then keep coming down while coming over. And if you can see here, these tabs actually go through this opening. I'll lift it up a bit. And you're going to line up the slot, and quite simply, there we go, snaps right into place. You just want to make sure that your monitor plugs should be visible right through the back. There's 2 DVI ports, display video interface, there's HDMI, and there's DisplayPort. If it's all the way down, this plate here should be relatively flush with that piece of metal. That's all there is to it. Now, to actually secure it, you may move the top of the video card back and forth a bit to get these screw holes to align. Actually, that's pretty good on the first try. Is that lined up perfectly? A little bit. Yeah. Very nice. Okay, so we're going to bring this retention bracket over. We're going to take our screw, there's only 1 screw, and screw it back in that same place. We may have to hold the bracket to get it to screw into place. This may take just a bit of pressure. There we go. Now, we're not done yet. And the reason being is if you close this up right now and do nothing else and plug in your monitor and turn it on, you will have problems. And the reason is this spot right here. This is a 6-pin PCI Express power connector. This video card uses more than 75 watts of electricity, and that motherboard slot only provides 75 watts of electricity to the video card. One option is to replace your power supply with a power supply that provides a 6-pin PCI Express power connector. You don't have to do that for this card. This is 300 watts. It bursts to 350 for up to 30 seconds, but it's a 300 watt continuous power supply. It's plenty for this card. The CPU pulls less than 65 watts, 120 here, 10, 15 watts at most, being generous. You've got plenty of power. But what they don't do with these power supplies is they do not provide you with a PCI Express power connector. Virtually none of the pre-built machines, Dell, HP, Levino, none of them provide power supplies that have these connectors. Not a problem. This adapter right here is provided with the video card. EVGA includes this adapter, and what it does is converts two 4-pin, these are called molex connectors, to a single 6-pin PCI Express power connector. And thankfully, and not all systems do this, but ASUS's power supply does provide two molex power connectors. So you've got 4 pins here, and in theory you'd have 4 pins here. There's actually 3 because it's only using 3 of the pins, and it's taking 3 pins from each and using them for the 6 pins for this. No worries. It's designed that way. These are keyed so they only go in one way. And sometimes you have to jiggle them a bit because these wires can move inside the housing. And they just go together like so. And this one goes together like so. Now, I will tell you, I've actually done this in this particular machine before, which is why these are loose. These two cables may be zip tied and they may be stuck up in here. You might have to, if you look here, I've got actually a twist tie right here. And the reason I do is because there used to be a permanent zip tie, which I cut previously. But then the cables are loose. It's handy to have a spare zip tie for this. So if you can't find these easily, you may have to cut one of these permanent zip ties to get access to them. And that one's inserted. And they should be firmly inserted. They, once these go in, they're solid. There's no wiggling, there's no jiggle room. Not a problem, they're in. As far as this goes, this tab right here, there is a quick release tab on the PC, let's see if I can get that visible, there we go, on the PCI Express connector. It goes towards that direction on the card, and this has just an audible click when it goes in, and that's all there is to it. Now this is in solidly, these are in solidly. Now you see this one loose cable right here? This is actually a floppy power connector, and of course we don't use floppy drives anymore, but believe it or not, they still provide a floppy cable. If you leave this here, look at that, you run the risk of it hitting the fan. This is where zip ties are so important. I'm going to reach down here and grab a zip tie. I've got a bunch of spares. If you don't have one of these, you really should have something to zip tie these. What I'm going to do is actually take, because it's attached to the molex connector, I'm going to apply a little bit of tension on it to hold these, not too much because I don't want to bend the graphics card, but it also keeps this from moving around and hitting things. So I'm going to move it this way, and I'm actually going to wrap around the whole stack of cords. That's okay, you can do that. And what I'm going to do is, let's see, how do I want to do this? It can be tight working in here. I'll wrap this around one more time and then tie it off. And then, not tie it off, twist it. Making sure to bend it this way so it stays away from the components. But now this is tied off here and it will not fall into your fan and cause any obstructions. As a general rule, this is something you always want to watch. Where are your power cords going and what's going to what? So, we've got our video card installed. We've got our PCI Express 9-pin power connector. We've got our additional 8 GB, I did switch them both out, but it doesn't matter. Additional 8 GB memory installed. So we've got 16 GB of RAM and our GeForce GTX 960 installed. All we have to do now is put the machine back together because I've already screwed that back in. I will grab, if you look right here, this is where the case slides on. On the back here are 6 tabs. All you're doing is resting it here and lining it up. It should drop right into place. Slide it closed. Remember to screw this back on. Just finger tight. It doesn't have to be overly tight, just tight enough to hold it in place. Now, if I raise the machine up, you will see our video card's installed. I'll turn it this way a bit. If you had previously had this plugged into a monitor, you most likely were plugged into the HDMI port, which was up here. This is the one on the motherboard. You will no longer use that. You will now plug into the HDMI, which is right here. You also, as an option, can plug into the DVI port or the display port. It does not matter. The card will auto-detect which one you need, and it will use that. So this concludes this video. That's how to install an additional 8 GB of memory and a video card that requires a PCI Express power connector into this machine. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Like it if you like it. Don't like it if you don't like it. Please subscribe to my channel. I would certainly appreciate it. If you want to see the review of this machine, there'll be a link in the video description below. I will also do a second video where I have this plugged into a monitor. I'll turn it on. I'll show you how to check that you have the additional memory, and I will show you how to download the NVIDIA graphics drivers. One thing you definitely want to do is go to nvidia.com and download the latest video drivers for your operating system, which in this case should be Windows 10. Windows will automatically detect the card and install a basic driver, but if you are going to game, you definitely want to put the latest NVIDIA graphics drivers on the machine. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description below. Feedback, certainly love your comments and feedback. I will answer any questions if you have any. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.